Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to the SCCI webinar in collaboration with Plan 9, PITB's Tech Incubator. I'm Fatimaanwar, Associate Director Communications at SAARC Chamber of Commerce and Industry. To give a quick overview, the SAARC CCI is an apex business organization under the SAARC Secretariat representing the business community across 8 countries. Our mission is to foster regional economic integration. In 2019, we organized a series of boot camps focused on strengthening startup ecosystems in South Asia, successfully holding them in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Maldives, Nepal, with the participation of Bhutan as well, and also in Pakistan. And during COVID, we transitioned from physical boot camps to online webinars. Now in 2024, we have resumed our webinar series, and this time we are highlighting successful startup stories. We are truly honored to have Mr. Amit Agrawal, the co-founder and director of Khalti Digital Wallet, as our keynote speaker. Mr. Agrawal's contribution to the digital finance sector have been recognized globally. And we are also privileged to have Mr. Abbas Kamaruddin as our moderator for this session. Mr. Kamaruddin is the co-founder and managing director of Debug Group of Companies, and currently he is the member of SAARC General Assembly and Vice Chair of SAARC Young Entrepreneur Forum, actively contributing to the youth empowerment and entrepreneurship in the region. Before we proceed, I would like to request all the participants who are listening, who are attending, to kindly share your questions in the Zoom chat or Facebook chat. Your questions will be addressed in the last 15 minutes. Also, we would like to inform, yes, we are live streaming on other platforms as well. We will share the link in the chat box. Before we proceed, I would like Mr. Abbas to kindly take over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fatima, for that concise introduction. And well, we are good to go. So a very warm welcome to all of you who have joined us today. And I hope that this session gives you something to take back, something of value to take back, and some learnings that I'm sure you can use in your lives and in your organizations. So with that said, I'd just like to start off with a very interesting quote. I think Roy Ash mentioned that an entrepreneur tends to bite off a little bit more than he or she can chew, hoping that they'll quickly learn how to chew it. And this kind of summarizes the traits of a successful entrepreneur. And we have one such entrepreneur who is going to share his journey and learnings with us today. Amit has graciously offered to join us today to tell us his story. So I'm definitely looking forward to hear his journey and his successes, and see how we can use some of these learnings for ourselves. With that said, Amit, thank you so much once again for accepting our invitation and joining us today. Could you, Amit, tell us a little bit about Khalti and what inspired you to create Khalti?
Yeah. Thank you, Abbas. Thank you, Fatima, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you, audience, for being there today. And yeah, thank you, Abbas, for the wonderful quotation as well. Coming back to what is Khalti and why we started Khalti. So I'll take back to our initial journey. We were 4 friends, engineering graduates, engineering batchmates. So before Khalti, we had started Sparrow SMS in Nepal back in 2007. We started this company, Janaki Technology, and we were doing bulk SMS and SMS VAS services for more than 10 years. And that was an exciting journey as well. It was a very challenging journey, but we grew up to become the largest telecom VAS provider in Nepal with a solid and established product. So after having worked for access to information for several years, we thought of working on our new journey, and that was access to finance. And that's how Khalti was started in 2017. It's been 7-8 years. We started with 10-15 people. Today, Khalti employs 300 full-time staffs, and yeah, it's growing. It's one of the national brands here in Nepal.
Thanks for that introduction, Amit. Just would also like to know, I mean, fintech is probably one of the most, sought after industries in the tech space, and, it's growing day by day. What do you think, where do you think that the region stands with regards to fintech maturity, and what do you think are the barriers, and how do you think you could improve fintech adoption? It's a very big space, but maybe you could give us some insights of yours.
Okay, sure. So I would like to answer your question in parts. So first, yes, we think that it's a tough industry. And in our case also, when we wanted to start, we knew it's going to be very challenging, and your quote rightly summarized it. We actually tried to eat more than we could, and we didn't have money. And we knew that tomorrow big banks or big remittance companies or even nearby markets like from India and China, they could enter Nepal. We knew all those things. And there was another player in the market who launched 8 years prior to us. But one thing that we had learned from our previous startup was the belief in ourselves and the teamwork. And we knew we could do it. And that's how we started Khalti. I'll tell you an incident. We had actually booked a launch advertisement in one of the expos here in Nepal. It's called Can Infotech. And somehow the expo got preponed. And we were not prepared. The product was not ready to launch. Now it was like winter time, January 2017, and Kathmandu is pretty cold, right? And we were not prepared, but we did something crazy. We made a routine of like assuming that there will be 36 hours in a day, not 24 hours, because 24 hours was not enough. We made a routine as per 36 hours, and we bought 8 sleeping bags. We booked 2 rooms in a hotel in front of our office, and our team didn't go home for 15 days. They would work, some would go to the hotel. We had lunch facilities at the office itself, and for dinner we would just walk around and eat some food. And that's how Khalti was launched. And like we built it from scratch. Like our co-founder used to stay day and night to build the furniture ourselves. We got like office set up on like some lease, some credit, and that was the journey. Now coming back to the second question, the fintech space in the SAARC region, I feel in fact the Asian countries are leading the fintech revolution, be it India or China. They are leading. If you see the Western world, they are heavily driven by card, right? And cards, they milk a lot of money from the banks, right? And even if you see the SMEs, it is very difficult for them to buy the POS device to accept card. It would cost, say, $100, right? But when it comes to QR code, it's just a printout. Or for some, like you don't even need to print. Like a person would call you and tell a grocery store to send me a few things, and the grocery store would just WhatsApp the QR code and the payment is done, right? And that is the Asian way of paying, right? QR codes, scan and pay, while the Western world is tap and pay, right? But the Asian world, largely we all have been service nations first, right? So, for example, India was service nation, China was a product nation, or Thailand was a service nation, South Korea was a product nation. Long back, they had the same potential, but China or South Korea, they reached very high, while India or other nearby countries like Nepal, we always were dependent on services. But when we start making our product, so if you see India, the first product is UPI, and you can see the massive impact that a product can create, right? So now these products are going global. And Nepal being in between India and China, we are also very ahead in fintech. Like we always compared ourselves with WeChat and Paytm, and because of that, we also built a lot of our own real-time fund transfer system, real-time scan and pay systems, all kinds of utilities inside the wallet. So I think the message is the Asian countries, we first need to think that we are not behind. We are well ahead. And we can, like, global is the new national. So we now need to build the product for the global market, not just our own countries. Obviously, we need to solve the problems of our own countries, but we need to build it for the global market. And based on that, I think there's a lot of scope in fintech now.
Great. I think that's a lovely story that you had in terms of every successful startup, has to go through a real serious challenge that defines them. I think that probably was the challenge that defined Khalti, and that's behind the success of what you've done. So, and I totally agree with you in terms of what you have to say about the fintech space, and hopefully it should grow from strength to strength as we go along. Personally, in Sri Lanka, I think the adoption is a bit of an issue, but I think with countries like India and Nepal, the adoption has been great. So let's see how some of the other regions in the SAARC region also move ahead, as you all have been doing.
Yes.
Just on the question of this, these challenges that you have to face as a startup, continuous challenges. How do you personally, mentally prepare yourself for this, long drawn challenge of, getting to office, not knowing what's going to come up next? How do you mentally prepare for it, and how do you mentally strengthen yourself?
So I think that's a tough question. There is no fixed way, to be honest. Like, there are times for an entrepreneur in any stage of their life, there are ups and downs, right? And at times you have to show that you are very strong externally, but internally you might be worried. You might be worried about the outcomes of your product or your business, So it's like a wave. But one thing that I believe is, like, if you want to build something really great, if you want to bring a change, if you want to build something that impacts lives of masses positively, then it's not going to be easy. And you are not going to love each day of your work. So when people say you should do what you love, I don't believe, because if your purpose is bigger, it's hard to achieve. It's not easy to achieve. And something that is hard to achieve, you have to work really hard every day, and you'll not like that job, but you'll have to do it, right? So I think the purpose is something that motivates you. And another thing, especially about Nepal, Nepal is a very small country, and we have a very good ecosystem, very good community. So that community recognition is there. People are supportive, and even if the smallest of the efforts are recognized. So that adds meaning to your work. That adds a sense of achievement, and that keeps us growing, that keeps us motivating. That is one part. The second part would be, like, one way could be to clear your mind. It's all about mindset. So what happens is, every day you'll have many things in your mind, many problems. Until we think about the problem, it keeps playing in our mind, and we are panicked, right? So what we usually do is, I try to write it down on my copy, or maybe someone can choose a separate corner in your house where you will just sit 30 minutes and list all your problems. And then you decide that, okay, today I'm not going to think about, suppose you have listed 10 problems. So you'll say that, okay, this 5 I'm not going to think about. These 2, okay, I'll assign to this person. You delegate to someone in your team or some of your staffs. And today I'm going to think about only this 3. I know the other 5 are pending, but I'll think about this tomorrow. So it's just a gesture that helps you focus on that 3. And that is one way that I have been doing for myself. And the many like, I'm not able to express, but there are many emotional swings. There are many many problems that we face every day. I think I have been lucky in terms of very good co-founders, very good team. So I don't know how a solo entrepreneur would be able to do it, but yeah, in my case, the team has always helped us pass that difficult stages.
Great. Thanks a lot, Amit. I think that was some great advice for especially young entrepreneurs that are logged in today or viewing this. Some good suggestions as to, you're going to feel really down on occasions, but it's your the commitment and your vision that drives you. I think that's some great advice to take. In terms of your personal expansion plans for Khalti, Amit, what do you have in mind? Any ideas on regional expansion? Any ideas of going global?
Yes, we are already on it. So
Right.
not Khalti, itself. Khalti is a licensed and a regulated payment service provider in Nepal.
Sure.
And as per the regulation, it is mandated for us to go public within this year, convert ourselves into public, and then 3 to 4 years from that time, we will have to issue an IPO.
Okay.
So we are treated like a financial institution in Nepal. Like as a director, I'm not able, like I can't take salaries or I can't sign any checks. So it's like highly regulated, and you know how fintech space is. But our tech wing, the company that has built the entire tech for us, like it is a separate company. Now they are going global and they are partnering with other companies around the globe to launch their wallet. So not as
Okay.
Khalti, so the tech company is white labeling. So even we are talking to few people in Sri Lanka and
Yep.
in other countries as well. So the fintech space is growing, and not just mobile wallets. The company builds digital banking apps, mobile banking apps. So we call it Lambda payments. So Lambda payments, like we have got pretty good interest. So in Nepal also, if you see, we were backed by WorldLink. WorldLink is the largest internet service provider in Nepal, serving close to 1 million households. And WorldLink is backed by BII, British International Investment. So WorldLink wanted to build their own wallet. They wanted to come up with WorldLink Pay. And then they realized that instead of building their own wallet from scratch and doing everything on their own, they partnered with us, and that's how Khalti was working here in Nepal. So similarly, if you see in nearby markets, some banks, they want to launch their super app or they want to launch their wallet, or some mass consumer facing companies like ride sharing companies, telcos, ISPs, they want to have a wallet license or a digital bank license and they want to launch it. So for them, we are the right partner, right technology company, because we are not just a software vendor. We have run the wallet ourselves. We have lived the wallet ourselves. We understand the regulators, the users, and everything. So we are already on the path. And like I mentioned earlier, also, we have to think global, especially the South Asian countries and the Asian countries. We have to think global, and that is very important. And Khalti is on its path to think global with Lambda payments.
That's great. That's so great. Just something more that I personally wanted to know. You've worked with a few countries. You're trying to, have partnerships with various different countries.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of integration, especially in the SAARC region? Do you feel that, it's reasonably there, or you feel there's a lot more that organizations such as SAARC chambers can do to develop this regional integration?
Yes, I think SAARC can play a very important role because, see, when you think of a fintech, a lot of trust and credibility is required, right? For any organization to find a right fintech partner, they are outsourcing their heart, right? They're not outsourcing their facial or eyebrow making. It's the core, right? And to trust any partner or any vendor, there needs a credibility, and the organizations like SAARC can play very important role. And the second thing, see, SAARC regions, a lot of our economies have largely been informal economy, cash economy, which means a lot of enabling ecosystem is not ready, right? In Nepal also, I'll tell you, for Khalti, we faced a lot of challenges because, see, in India, there is UPI, which is Unified Payment Interface. In Nepal, there was no UPI. And there were like more than 60 banking and financial institutions.
Wow.
So Khalti had to go and integrate in each and every bank and build their own real-time fund transfer network. It was very challenging. And like banks would not integrate also. Banks would say like, there are so many wallets, why to integrate? So my job used to be like, I've spent my entire 6 months only in banks without appointments. Sometimes I would meet the digital banking head, sometimes I would try to meet the director, sometimes the CEO, sometimes even the peon, and I would just, and what we used to do, we used to build additional software for the banks. So one of the bank in Nepal, they wanted to have a system where they can pay electricity bill by giving a missed call. And we built that system for the Sunrise Bank here in Nepal, that a consumer can pay electricity bill using missed call, just with the hope that they will allow us to integrate Khalti in their bank. So we had to hustle a lot. Similarly, on the merchants side, all the merchants, they don't have their technology or API, right? So we had to build the enabling ecosystem. For example, in order to make the school payment online, we invested in a school ERP company that is providing school ERP to 1,000 schools. It's called Veda. And then we have enabled school fee payment. Similarly, to make payments in the movie theater, like to have the movie booking online, we, through other companies, we did a strategic tie-up with a theater management system that is giving the theater management system to 45 theaters in Nepal. And now we got the API to integrate and enable the movie booking online. So we had to do all the enabling work, because that's how the small ecosystem works. And many merchants still, they don't have technology. They are offline merchants, like the small, small health clinics, small SMEs. So we have built an offline system for them so that they can enable to receive online payments. Similarly, we integrated with interoperable, like we made interoperable. We are integrated with China Union Pay. We are integrated with NPCI India, which means Indians coming to Nepal that can scan and pay in our QR codes. We integrated with all the payment service operators in Nepal, like Nepal Pay, Phone Pay. So, in fact, if Nepal is a very small population, 30 million, if we had a bigger population, our each module could become a unicorn. So and if we have to digitize in other SAARC countries also, for example, if we have to launch in Sri Lanka, it will not be easy, because we'll have to enable the merchants first, and then when they come online, then they will be integrated in the wallet with real-time support and everything. Yeah.
Of course, it's a real challenge. I think one great strategy that I think is a takeaway for me is that, like you mentioned about sometimes having to invest into certain strategic partnerships where you make an investment and that then binds you, to that strategic partnership. That's a great strategy to use, I think, for any organization. That's a good strategy to consider when you have partnerships which you want to be tightly integrated. Maybe an investment option is always a great way of going about it. So getting into the whole aspects of your IPO and getting ready for IPO, and that itself is a huge challenge on its own. And financing. Obviously you're handling. You're looking at IPO on a more regulatory purpose, but also IPOs are required for any startups at a given point where they need to have access to more funds. What is your opinion on how, especially startups can make sure that they are, are ready for being financed, where financial organizations, be it equity or debt, how have you all made sure that you are not way out in terms of being able to IPO, and how do you make sure that you can IPO? How, it's a big difference between having your accounts correct, having your structures in place, everything, as opposed to just running it ad hoc. How do you get there as a startup?
Exactly. So I would like to tell this to all the startups as well, all the beginners. The mistake that we made should not be made by others, right? So the mistake that usually startups do is they hire only an accountant. They never hire a finance manager or a chartered accountant, right? They do bookkeeping, right? They just do the bookkeeping. But if I always regret not having a CA until 2000, I think 2018. We started in 2007. In 2010, we launched Sparrow SMS. And only in 2018-19, we had finance people or a CA in our team. So I suggest all the startups that even if you can't afford, you should Google it, what a CA can do, or you should understand top line and bottom line. You should understand what is EBITDA. You should understand what is the TAM, total market size, and all those terminologies, which usually the initially startups don't know. Now coming back to the IPO thing, see, as we got investment from WorldLink, and WorldLink has investments from the British International Investment. So a lot of compliance was always there, because a lot of international formats and FRS, and because we are regulated, we have like I think yearly 2 audits, and then we are ISO certified. We follow PCI DSS, and we have to do our security audits. It's a mandate. A lot of things is mandated, right? And there is a separate risks committee, compliance committee. So even though we are a private company, we actually run like a public company, right? Being regulated from a financial angle, right? And even our investors, we learned a lot from them, and we following all the international practices. So I think going to an IPO, the structure and everything is in place. Yes, it's all about the profitability, because Nepal is a small market, and initially we have invested a lot in the tech and manpower, right? So a lot of the traditional way of valuation is not applicable, and that remains a challenge in the SAARC region, because the investor ecosystem in the SAARC region is not as vibrant as it is in the Western world. So that will be one challenge, but I think that part we have delegated to our CAs and our issue managers, so I don't have to worry much about it. But you rightly said, it's not just about raising funds from the public. It's also about the credibility of the company. It's also about transparency of the company, and it's a matter of pride. See, we were just students. We started something out of our one room in our flat, right? In fact, the registered address of our company was the hostel of the engineering campus here, Pulchok Engineering Campus, right? So starting from that point to getting listed in the national stock, it itself is a sense of achievement, right? So that is more important for more new and aspiring entrepreneurs to look upon, because if we don't have such success stories from the country, it will not inspire other entrepreneurs, and there is an easy way to just go abroad, and that has been challenged for all of us in this region, right? So IPO is something very important for us, and we are already on it.
Great. Thanks for that, Amit. So in terms of financing, I think all founders, if you ask them, no one has a real answer to this. But when it comes to figuring it out, whether you actually diversify your shareholdings or whether you borrow, so many successful founders have always that regret element. Why did I not, borrow? Why did I go in for, sharing a portion of my equity? Some people. So the balance is quite tough. I know this is a tough question, but what is your take on that? How as a founder, how do you decide, when you should be, divesting some part of your holding of the company? What is the borrowing? Any thoughts on that?
Yes, again, Abbas, it will largely depends upon lot of factors. Like, it's very dynamic thing. It also depends upon your own status, the stage of the company, your end goal, and there's no straightaway answer. But few things that I would like to say, if that can happen, it is the best. So I think if you have paying customers, they can be your best investors. So let's first focus on paying customers, irrespective of whether you're bootstrapped. So another mistake that we made in the initial days was we were in the build trap. See, as techies, we always want to build features, right? So let's not be in the build trap, because now the technology manpower has become very challenging and very expensive, right?
Yeah.
Second, we always wanted to try very latest technology. We wanted to buy, build new versions and all, right? So, for example, if we are building in Python, we want to explore Go language. But later we realized that we can work on Golang, but how many Golang developers are available in Nepal? And if available, what is their pay scale like? So sometimes even if the latest technology is Golang or Rust or something, we are still working on Python because we know that the resources are available. So you should not build more and invest more. Don't be in the build trap. Try to find your paying customers. We were in the glamour world that we were always thinking that we are building something big. Don't worry about money. Money will come after 10 years. We used to think like that, right? We are a product company. We are not a service company. And don't think about revenue. We are creating a product that will give like billions of dollars after 10 years. So that mistake is made by a lot of founders because they see news that this company raised so many million, that company raised so many million, and they forget their basics, their top line and bottom line and all those things. So try to find a revenue center, try to find paying customers. That is one thing. Second, investors' money, it is the best time to raise money is when you don't need it, right? So it's easy to say as a quote, but it's very challenging. Uh, Third, fundraising is a different game. Fundraising is not just about your product and your books. It's also about your credibility. It's also about your PR, public relation. It's also about your network. So your network is going to be your net worth, right? So sometimes people would blindly put money, and sometimes they would want the entire, you say kundli, entire kundli of your startup, but still they would be skeptical, right? Should I put this much money or not? When will I get the return? So investing money by the investor, it's just the mindset. It's the gesture. It's not like if they are in a good mood and they would even or if they are in a good network or in a credible person, they would sign $1 million check without thinking twice. And if not, even signing 100K check would be like they would ask the credibility. So raising funds is not just the business canvas and the pitch deck. No, it's not that. That is there, but at the end of the day, it is a different game. That's what I have felt so far. And I don't know how to raise funds. I don't have a clear answer that how can you raise funds, but initially to manage the financial part, one thing that you have to do is you have to do multitasking as co-founders. You have to do many things, and you have to be lean. You have to maybe use interns, and you have to not build anything which cannot give you immediate money. Not just be in the feature trap or the build trap. And once you show the consistency, I think then gradually people will start believing you, and then fundraising can become easier. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And I think I totally, wholeheartedly endorse your statement that you should be raising funds when you don't need it. I personally have found that, when you don't want it, you get so many people willing to finance you at such great terms. But the minute that someone feels that you are desperate for financing, it all turns around. So that's probably one great takeaway to take home. Make sure that even if you don't need financing, make sure you have your funding possibilities in place so that when you do need it, it's all agreed and ready for you to explore, be it debt funding, be it equity funding. I think that's a great advice to make sure that you do it when you don't need it, so that you're ready when you do need it. That's great advice. Thanks so much. Then I think I'll just take maybe one question that has come from the audience, which is essentially during the initial journey of Sparrow SMS, what were the challenges you faced and how did you manage the funding, the financial part? Maybe you could address
Yeah,
that.
I can read both the questions, so I can answer one by one.
All
See,
right.
during the initial days, we took very less salary. Like we are not from the Kathmandu city. I come from a small town, Birgans. In fact, all co-founders, we are 4 friends, engineering batchmates. We were taking a rented room and we were staying in Kathmandu, the
Okay.
capital, which is very expensive. So we used to take like $100 per month. That was our salary. However, if we didn't work for our startup and if we did a job at any other company, we could easily get $400, $500 a month. So basically, we were taking 1/4 of our own value. We are using our own vehicle, and the good thing about IT is that you have a laptop and an internet, and then you can work, right? So initially, I remember from the first dividend of Sparrow SMS, when we had some profit, the first dividend, we bought 2 inverters for two of our co-founders, Manish Modi and Dhruva, because they were handling the tech part. Me and Arvind, the other two co-founders, we were handling the non-tech part. And during those days, Nepal used to have 14 hours of power cut every day. So we came from that days, and that's why SMS service was so popular. So the first dividend was we, like in the office we had inverter obviously, but we bought inverter for one for Manish's house and one for Dhruva's house, right? So for several years we didn't take. We only took money required to pay our rentals and the food, and we were happy about it. That's how we started, and gradually the product became profitable. When the product became profitable, we invested that money in Khalti initially, and later we got investors in Khalti. That is one part. Now, regarding the second question about SAARC is least socio-economically integrated region in the world. Okay, so I think one of the see, I say this in a lot of forums, right? We have to believe that there is only one currency in the world, that is energy, right? And that is found in youth and natural resources. And SAARC is very rich in youth and natural resources because of our culture, tradition. We have more integrated families. We have kids. We have youths, right? In the Western world, they have to come up with diversity visa or other things to bring the youth. And there are less marriages or maybe comparatively more divorces and all. So we have the youths, but the problem that we have been facing is instead of building the products and exporting the products, we exported the youth, right? One way to stop the youth in your nation is IT. It is IT. But why are the youths going abroad? There might be other reasons, but one of the fundamental reason is the salary, the amount, the revenue, right? The salary range in Nepal or Pakistan or other SAARC countries is comparatively lesser, and that's why they go to Dubai or other places because they are paid more. Now it is the time because now the internet is equal. The smart devices also in Nepal, people have iPhone. In US also they have the same phone, same device, the same laptop, the same electricity, and the same internet speed as well. The internet speed is not like bad. Otherwise, we would have not been doing this virtual meetup, right? So the digital divide has been reduced. Now the SAARC should be the next IT hub. Now, how to be IT hub? Like we can't compete in every technology. Maybe we can't compete in AI or we can't compete in some other technology. Then we have to find one niche, or maybe even a lot of freelancers, they can go to sites like Upwork, and we have to figure out what can earn them at least $500 a month. Like for any student or fresh graduate, if they can earn $500 a month from their own village and from their own country as a starting, I think they would not go abroad. So we have to find that, and we have to incorporate that in our college syllabus. We have to have training institutes, courses, or if you want to do higher things, maybe you can tie up with big giants like Microsoft and Google and make a good AI course and train like say 200 people in each country. And these 200 people would act as a seed and then, get those IT work. So all the SAARC countries from past 1 decade, we have been telling that how can we become the BPO hub and all, but we were not ready for that. But now I think it is the right time. So like Philippines has done good, India being a large population, they are doing good. Vietnam these days is doing really good. They've got all the work from Japan, and now they are also getting work from South Korea. So I think SAARC can create, we don't have to create our own IT park also. In fact, the government can just come up with a guideline, right, of a special economic zone, and then the private would make buildings in that guideline and get all the tax subsidies and everything, and have the skilled manpower, IT manpower, and do a positive branding from the government side or the SAARC side. That, so for example, in Nepal is very good for WordPress. So we are now promoting that for WordPress development, come to Nepal, right? And we do WordPress meetups here. If we do a small WordPress meetup, also more than 1,000 people join. So we'll hammer that first, and if we are able to do good in WordPress, then in future we'll also say that we are good with data entry, we are good with transcription, we are good with AI work, we are good with fintech, and in fintech we are already ahead. Like if you come to Nepal, even if you don't carry cash, you can make all the payments.
Sure. Thanks, Amit. I think that's brain drain is a serious issue throughout our regions, and I think addressing brain drain, there are various challenges at different stages. Different countries have different challenges. I think if you take Sri Lanka, for example, it's not always the salary. I think the instability and the whole environmental aspects, the challenges have made has made it a bigger issue than the salary itself. So different challenges, but brain drain as a common issue is a huge issue for the region. And I think you pointed out there are so many things that can be, kind of carried out, different activities that can be carried out. But I think the stability and the quality of life and the salary are three critical issues that need to be addressed to stop this brain drain and hopefully reverse brain drain as as most countries, even in the West, are finding it challenges in terms of cost of living. I think it's a good time to see if we can do reverse brain drain as well. With regards to, before I go to one of the other questions from the audience, I just have one interesting question. I find that Khalti, one area that a lot of techies find it really, really difficult to do is overcoming the challenges when it comes to sales and marketing and having a proper sales and marketing strategy. But what I find, Khalti, is that y'all seem to be really, really good in that space. So tell me, what's the secret? How did you manage that?
See, for us, it was the fight for survival. It was not the fight for growth.
Okay.
So that necessity was necessity is the mother of all invention, because we didn't have deep pockets, right? We launched in the market when there was a monopolistic market and there was a player in the market for 8 years, and we were not from a financial background, and we didn't have money to hire ad agencies or anything. So all our marketing branding is in-house. In fact, if you go to Khalti's Facebook page now or Khalti app, all the photographs, all the videos that you see, that is all the models are our staffs itself, right? Our staff themselves. And uh, we we had no option. I think that was the main reason. And we have a very good team. We have a very good business head and other team members who really love, and we have very good culture here. So somehow we have been able to create ourselves as a very good national brand. I think everyone in the nation knows Khalti. And recently we won many awards also. We won award from Google, and Google Pay team invited us to their headquarters and they mentored us as well. And last week only we won the National Association of Software and IT awards for this year, and we are going to Brunei for the grand finale. And we are also semi-finalist at the Hong Kong FinTech Week, so we're going there as a semi-finalist. So see, sales and marketing again. One thing that we have realized, there is a before product market fit and after product market fit, right? Before product market fit, you can't hire a very strong BD or a salesperson and that person cannot go and sell your product. We usually think that, okay, we'll hire a veteran salesperson and he will do the work. It doesn't work that way. Before the product market fit, it has to be the co-founders who has to understand the user's problem, and when you are selling technology, you have to think that even the implementation is the part of your sell. A lot of tech people, they think that, okay, I made a software, I gave it to you, my job is done. No, the job is not done until and unless they are able to actually use it and they are dependent on you. If they are not dependent on you, they can leave you any day, then your job is not done, right? So initially the co-founders, they have to have the good skin in the game. And in our case, we were lucky, we were 4 co-founders. So if 2 could focus on operations, 2 could do all such PR and marketing. And I have been part of many organizations in Nepal. Like I'm the vice president at the FinTech Alliance Nepal, which is a member of Asia FinTech Alliance. and many such things that we have been doing. So again, no straight formula how to do sales, but yeah, the co-founders have to have the skin in the game, and later when your product is clear, it is product market fit is identified, then you hire a salesperson and they will do the right positioning, right pricing, and right segmentation. That is very important. I see a question about AI. So if, yeah,
I think the point taken with regards to sales and marketing, I think the message to take away is that however good or bad you are with your sales and marketing skills, if you are a founder, you need to be in there. You need to, however good or bad, you need to be in there. Am I right?
Yes.
That's essentially.
Yes, you have to. You have to.
And I think I'd also like to congratulate you. I think you're going to be attending the Asia Pacific ICT Awards in Brunei. So I personally have been judging that for a few years, and I know how competitive it is. So good luck to you on that as well. That should be
Thank
a
you.
really interesting
Thank you.
session. With regards to the next question on AI, let me just read it out for the benefit of the audience. The question is, with the rise of AI, businesses have access to advanced tools optimizing marketing strategies. Has Khalti utilized AI? How has it helped in personalizing user experiences? This is the question from the audience. Amit, you can take the question.
Yeah, so I think AI has been the buzzword, and I was expecting a question around AI. Thank you, Aiza Rahman, for the question. In fact, next week, not next week, October 17, I'm doing another webinar with the head of AI and ML at the Bank of America. So I'll be hosting that webinar. It's on October 17. You can find it on the Asia FinTech Alliance page. So you can join that webinar as well. The speaker is like the most sought speaker in AI in the Bay Area. So that is one part. Regarding use of AI in Khalti, to be honest, I would not say that we have used AI.
Okay.
We are still exploring. We're still studying, and there are no proper AI laws also in place. So in fact, we are also through Asia FinTech Alliance, we are discussing the risks and all those things. But the basic things that we do is like a basic machine learning and basic pattern recognition, which helps us predict some of the user behaviors and recommend some of the services. So what we do is like based on the spending habits of the consumer, right? We try to recommend them. So do you know these tools like Clever Tap and all, right? So we try to do similar kind of things internally, where we have our email marketing channel, SMS marketing channel, WhatsApp, Viber, and outbound dialing channels. And based on the user profile, they dynamically see the banners on their profile. So different users have different profiles, and based on their level. So we have something internally, we have something called journey. So based on the journey of the user, they see different kind of offers based on their interaction. This is not AI, because AI, this is simple behavioral analytics, right? This is just an analytics. AI will be used, I don't know, we are using simple face recognition for the KYC liveliness. That's not AI again, but I think we have to combine a lot of big data and see if we can prevent fraud, because we have some hints on what kind of profiles are more prone to doing fraud. So I'll give one example. So if you have a Khalti profile and you are not making any payments, you are just transferring funds, right? The chances are high that you might be involved in a fraud, right? And we have a lot of pattern recognitions also. Like if someone is receiving a lot of payments than usual, right? Then the system automatically tags, we have different tags. So it tags suspicious. And then the profile goes under monitoring, and we have alerts. If someone is, we have a lot of keywords. So if you have used such kind of keywords, that is also tracked. So this is not AI, like I said. Currently, we are just using HI, which is human intelligence. But in future, we want to combine HI and AI, and we are in the learning phase. We are not for that matter, for blockchain also. There is no distributed ledger or centralized KYC system here in Nepal. The government is working on CBDC. They have come up with a consultation paper. So when the money will be dematerialized. Yeah, so I don't have an exact answer for AI, but yes, if you attend the webinar on October 17 by the Asia FinTech Alliance, the speaker there, he is the VP of AI and ML at Bank of America. I think he will be able to answer a lot of your queries.
Great, great. Any thoughts on bringing in AI for merchant onboarding, merchant, new merchant, lead generation, anything like that, or support, merchant support, custom support?
So I would not call it AI. See, what we do, this is one thing which even all of you can try in your organization. Every 3 months, our HR rolls out a form to our merchants, not all merchants, selected merchants, and all our staffs, where we ask them what your tasks can be automated that can save 30 minutes of your every day. What tasks are you doing redundantly, and we collect that automation feedback, and then we try to build system accordingly, even for report generation, client onboarding. So suppose if we take 2 days to onboard a merchant, the goal that we give to our staff is how can we make it in 1.5 days, and if we achieve that, then how can we do it in 1 day? And for that, we have to use our CRMs that will send automatic emails, automatic next steps to the merchant. So if the merchant has done the sign up, an email would go saying that, hey, now you can do your KYC in this way. If you are stuck, you can message us here. If the person submits the KYC, then the next step. So it's not AI. This is basic analytics and basic automation.
That's more process automation. So yeah. So I mean, it's not like you need to use AI, but AI is just a buzzword. So, but of course, if it helps in some space, you can always explore.
So we use some of the tools. See, in the US also, if you see closely, a lot of them, they are building wrappers.
Yeah.
The base is like the chat GPTs and others, and they're building wrappers, right? So what we are doing is, first, we are training our staffs to ask the right questions to AI. We are not teaching them AI, we are teaching them how to use AI. So even being able to assign a task to AI is a bigger challenge, right? So that is skills we are teaching. So we use chat GPT for some of our work. We use copy.ai. We use like for our meetings, we use free flies or something.ai. So whenever we do a video meeting, our AI assistant is in the meeting. As soon as the meeting is done, the AI assistant would send us the minute, right? The minutes are sent. So we are using the tools, but we are not developing AI ourselves as of now.
There's another question. Let me read it out once again from Zohaib Mushtaq. Listing problems frequently is an impressive approach. Is listing problems and prioritizing indispensable specific to a few team members, or is there a mechanism to seek everyone's input? I think secondly, you mentioned that your team was already in place. Was your journey primarily about sticking to the initial plan or idea, or did it involve exploring what suited you best and adapting along the way?
Yeah, so thank you, Joheb Mustaq, for the question. I'll try to answer the question in parts. When I said listing problems, it was my personal exercise, not with the team. Because generally, when you try to list problems with the team, sometimes even the unnecessary problems can get escalated. So listing problems is a personal exercise to clear your mind, because sometimes you don't know the intensity of the problem. It's just in your mind. We have to do this, I have to do this, this is pending, that is pending. So what you do, you just list it and you say that, okay, today I'll just focus on these three, rest I'll not focus. So that just gives you a direction. That's an individual exercise, not a group exercise. In office, what we have, we first, like over the years, over many iterations, we have better KPIs now, which are tangible and measurable. And all the team members have been assigned a KPI, and there is a daily tracking automated by the system. So daily tracking, we know exactly like how many downloads, how many KYCs, how many bank links, what transactions, how many agents did flight transactions, all those things. Like if you see the payment industry, and everyone has the ownership of some KPI, and we have our warriors meeting, and we have a daily huddle for 15 minutes where we discuss the KPI and what are the top 3 challenges that is hindering this KPI. That's it. And then we try to focus on that. We don't list all the problems. Second, you mentioned that your team was already in place. Was it on primary, was sticking to the initial plan or idea, or did it involve exploring the strategic best and adapting the norm way? So it's hybrid. In some cases, we stick to the plan no matter what. And in some cases, we have to adapt because it's a dynamic industry. As per the market, you have to change your plans, you have to change your KPI. And generally, after a few iterations, so long back, like 5 years ago, when we created our KPI and targets, it was just on the basis of assumption. But now when we create our KPI and targets, purely on the basis of historical data, right? So now we know that out of 12 months, what will be our transactions in the rainy season, what will be our transaction in the festival season, what will be our transaction when there is a dengue outbreak in summers, or what will be our transaction when it is extremely cold. So this has come from the historical data, and based on that, we make the new plans, and they are very close to the budgeting. They're very close to accuracy until something new and something disruptive comes up.
Sure, thanks. So we've got another question from Aisha Khattab, which is how does Khalti build and maintain trust with its users in light of potential scams and frauds? I think that's a very pertinent question that everyone has.
Yes.
Amit, if you like to
Yes.
answer that.
Thank you, Aisha, for the question. And it's a very important question. And it's not an overnight process, it's an ongoing process. And you first need to install that in the core values. So we have our core values, customer first core values within the team. And we track the response time. Like for our call center, we have a daily tracking that how many calls were abandoned, how much time was taken to pick up the call, what was the response time, how many times the user had to call us, all those things are there. Now, building trust, it's a teamwork, and trust is the most important thing for your startup. Like you are actually selling the trust, you're selling the credibility, you're not selling the product. Like why we buy iPhone, it's just a trust that, okay, they are going to make the best one, right? So building trust cannot be the support department's goal only. It has to be the goal of the entire team. So we usually do design sprints also, design thinking also. We throw the question that how can we make Khalti a more trustworthy wallet among our users? And we get different ideas. Sometimes the idea would be that we should hire the most celebrated celebrity as our brand ambassador, and that will make us more trustworthy. And some people say that we should have more team in our KYC. Some would say that technologically we should upgrade to this system. So there are many feedbacks that we get, and we try to implement. One thing that we have been doing is I personally reach out to many customers, not saying that I'm the co-founder of Khalti. I would just say that, hey, I work for Khalti. I saw your Play Store rating. And sometimes, the user, they don't understand why, like they would give you a negative rating because they don't understand the purpose. For example, we are very strict with the KYC. A lot of our KYCs get rejected. And when the KYCs get rejected, people, they derate us at times. We explain that it is for your own safety, right? And there can be identity theft. Someone might have taken your documents from some shop and they are using it. That's the biggest case in any wallet. People take your documents from somewhere and they open in that name, right? So we have to explain the users. We do live videos. We do Q&A with co-founder. We do live from our Facebook every quarter where people can ask questions. So we explain them why we are doing things, why we are strict. We also try to accept our mistakes also. And so it's an ongoing process, and it's not an overnight process. Yes, you need to follow all the best practices, like we follow PCI DSS, ISO certification, and we need to always keep user at the center. That is very, very important. And never, never try to have shortcuts to make money. You need to, even if you're charging users for something, see, you need to be sustainable, right? You have to be very open about the charges. These are the charges for these types of transactions. You have to be transparent and explain them that why they need to pay. Like had they have to do it physically, go to a bank, travel and do it, it would cost them higher. Now we are giving this service, we have our cost, so that's why there is a charge. So you have to be transparent with your users. I think these are some of the things, but again, this is not 100% Aisha. It's an ongoing process. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Amit. I think we are running out of time, so I think we've got one last question. Maybe Amit, you can take that. Let me read it out. Sir, what's the best way you recommend to do cold calls and lead gen for SMMA and become expert in them? If you will recommend any best mentor also in your opinion, what's the best approach and lead gen platform nowadays for SMMA, or a little bit roadmap? Thanks in advance.
So thank you, Malik Shim, for the question. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of cold calls, and I don't know how to become an expert in lead gen and but what I can tell is, so there's a funnel, right? So if you study inbound marketing, you will see that on the top of the funnel you have different touch points. It could be social media, it could be your paid advertisements, it could be your SEO, it could be your content marketing, influencer marketing, a lot of things, right? From that you get the lead and you do the temperature testing, like the lead is cold initially, and you need to engage and find that the lead is really interested. If it is hot, one thing we can do is automate the drip campaigns. So if you Google about drip campaigns, growth hacking, basically, there are many types of hacks, vanity hack, and many more hacks. So your funnel, what we do is sometimes, suppose my sales team, if they are bringing 50 merchants per month, and if I have to give them a target of 80 merchants per month, you can't do it plain simple 50 to 80, right? What you need to do is, how are you getting 50 merchants? Basically, to get 50 merchants, 50 converted merchants, you must be receiving, say, 1000 leads from Facebook, from different ads. And then from 1000 leads, maybe 500 are doing the sign up. So the CTR, conversion through ratio, there is 50%. So one team will work on increasing 1000 to 1200, like generate more leads, more genuine leads. Another team will work on making the CTR from 50% to 60%, which means out of 12, if you do 60%, you are able to get 780 signups. Then you see how many of them are doing KYC. And one team will work only on increasing the KYC. Then one team will work only on increasing the live testing, integration testing. And then one team will work on getting the first 2 transactions. Then it is converted. So different strategies are required for different stages of the sales funnel. Cold calls is just one of the touch points. In some cases it works. The CTR is quite less, like 1 to 2%. And in some cases, you need other approaches. And based on the token size and the deal size also, if you're selling an insurance, it's a different way. If you're selling a SMS system, it's a different way. Yeah. So, and I don't know any expert, any platform. Yeah. In Khalti, we are using Lead Squad as a CRM, and we are also using our own CRM. But there are many, many platforms, and I don't have a particular recommendation as such.
Thank you so much, Amit. I think we are running out of time now. So let us, unfortunately, we would have to conclude now. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for a wonderful, engaging session. I'm sure there was a lot of very valuable insights that were shared by you, which the audience can take away. And thank you so much once again for taking our invitation, for accepting our invitation. It's been a pleasure having you on one of our sessions. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the SAARC Secretariat for doing a fabulous job in organizing this webinar. And I hope that this is one of many webinars for addressing the challenges and concerns that the industries in the SAARC region have. And I'm sure this will add value to the whole region. So with that, thank you very much once again to all of you, the audience who have joined us today. And I hope that it was an insightful session for you. And I look forward to having you all once again in our next round of webinars. And have a great afternoon and have a great day. Thank you so much.